have to have space in this process of recovery. It's a worldwide program. In USA, it started and women are recovering and carrying out the message to another suffering alcoholics, women alcoholics. But in India, we may stop drinking, but we keep quiet. We don't reach out. I have worked for the past 25 years in this program, and my problem is always that parents and siblings don't support girls. Girls are in trouble, they come to the rehab center and they say parents don't want to give the fees. And therefore, as long as I have project, I can run the rehab. When the project is no more, there is no support because they think this woman not supposed to drink and she drinks, and so why should we waste money on her? But for men there are. In Goan itself there are 50 and more rehab centers for men, but not women. In Goa there are 60 groups and many rehab centers, treatment centers, but not even one for women. What is this disparity? No, it's gender disparity as well as specific stigma attached to women. We have to break this chain. And this problem is leading to modern slavery, extreme exploitation situations of women in distress. Women drinking, a woman when she drinks is more vulnerable to sex exploitation, rape, and then trafficked, and then into modern slavery. It can go to such an extreme. And no one is coming up to address this issue. So therefore, coming to Goa, I'm deputed by the congregation, which is Fatima and another Goan sister, to work for Northeast migrants, because you know the velocity of the problem, along with the Northeast people working in Goa. So, but then when we come to women in distress and women in difficulties, most of them begin with drinking. And after drinking, homelessness. After homelessness, no treatment. You go to this hospital, that hospital, this treatment costs are very high. And again, no one to help. And often they will not be admitted in hospitals when they know they have the smell of the alcohol. This is the situation. So therefore, what can we do? We admit them as a sick person, detoxify them, then after the detoxification, we are planning to give them transit shelter in Saligaon. We were offered free of rent by Vincent Paul Society of Goa, and there we can shelter women. And so the Consoling group has heard the cry of these women in distress who are in drinking problem, and they said, let's work out a helpline. And through this helpline, where I would be answering, where other alcoholic women will be answering, we hope that some more women will access to this simple but at the same time easy, risky support for their health. That is what we foresee. They can stay till they are introduced to the AA meetings, and I appeal and request all the AA groups in Goa, 60 groups, to open their AA meeting rooms and create space for women. That's our desire at the moment. Then women will also get recovery, and they will run their houses better, their children will be looked after better, and they will get engaged in the society, may it be in the church or in the other activities of the society. That is how we look. Consoling group is completing 48 years, and Goa as a whole has completed 50 years. I wish they reflect properly and give glory and gratitude to the 50 years gone. But what they have missed is still huge. Have to pick up that what they missed, especially the most important one, inclusiveness. Rule out gender disparity in alcoholism and include and serve the alcoholic still suffering women to recovery programs. We can make the Goan society a better place. Mother will be able to teach the children not to throw garbage on the roadside, because while drinking she can't teach the children. So anybody will throw garbage on the roadside, which is so harmful. So these are our plan, and I hope this celebration of 48 years of AA in Kansauli alone can be a semblance or an example for all the groups to include women and let men and women reach out more and more to the still alcoholics, especially women. And through women, the parents of the suffering alcoholics, we call them Alanon groups. Means not drinking but affected by the drinking problem. And they also will come into the program. And the children who had been suffering the impact of alcoholism also will come to the program called Alanon. So the whole family is getting healed and experiencing wholeness, becoming whole again, a normal family again, so that we can look out if we work together. I wish and pray that we will succeed in this, and many more people will come into this program. And I request you respected media, you have very powerful weapon for this. If you don't write and speak about this, it will keep silent. Alcoholics will not dare to talk everywhere. They will not get platform, but you have plenty platform. Even if we don't come to your office, please publish in your newsletters and let women come to a recovery program. May God bless us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sister Rose. Thank you, Sister Rose, for that. Indeed, what Sister Rose shared is that alcoholism is a family illness. So the spouse of the alcoholic, whether it's the husband or the wife, and the children of the alcoholic are also affected. And I share that because today we didn't invite most of Alanon people, but I am an Alanon member. My father was an alcoholic, and I went ahead in life and married alcoholics. So there is a different aspect of the illness where the Alanon person, the family person, is only gripped with worry and fear and insecurity to the extent that they are unable to function independently as human beings. And each human being is actually created by God to fulfill our own potential. So the family members become completely mentally and emotionally fixated on the well-being of another person. And it's in the Alanon, the same 12 steps which the AA uses, that the family members are guided to independence and fulfilling their own potential and allowing a respectful detachment to the alcoholic, which is a very, very difficult thing, which is easy to say. So I hand over this press conference now to the most precious resource we have here with us, Dr. Ashish Deshpande. He is our Class A trustee also and extensively works with the AA cause out of his own voluntary persuasions. And he will share with us about the neurobiology of alcoholism in women, and he's the expert who should be quoted, and all your questions also after this should come to them. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. I can't say it's a pleasure to be here for the cause of alcoholism. I wish that it wasn't there. And I wish the Consolim group on its 48th anniversary celebrations. And at the same time, let me remind you that on 10th of June 2025, AA celebrates 90 years on this planet, and we are already preparing for the 100th year celebration. So what should be AA like in the next 10 years? That's what we are planning. First, a disclaimer, I am not paid any honorarium, neither is Sister Rose paid any honorarium, or do I get any professional benefits because of the work that we believe in. We don't do this work, we believe in this work, and that's the only reason why we give our time to this fellowship all over the country. All the major bodies in the world believe, medical bodies believe that it's a disease, and it's a growing disease, and it causes a lot of social damage. World Health Report on status of alcohol in India states that 1/3 of suicides happen under the influence of alcohol, 2/3 of domestic violence happen under the influence of alcohol, 40% of job absenteeisms, 32% of the income in metros is spent on alcohol, 24% of income in rural areas is spent on alcohol. 80% of hospital admissions on emergency are in some way associated with alcohol, 40% of job absenteeisms. Nearly 40% of head injuries happen because of alcohol. And all the medical expenses in municipal hospitals run on the taxes that society pays. So the same taxes could be used to build roads, to educate people, to improve maternal and child health. So there is a lot of saving that can happen if the problem of alcohol is addressed. As it is a disease, it follows a particular pattern, and we believe, the science believes, that out of people who consume alcohol, 3 to 8% are likely to turn into a peculiar pattern of drinking, which follows some kind of a path which initiates with preoccupation with procurement of alcohol. And that preoccupation gradually increases to desperation. And that desperation destroys lives. Not only theirs, but their family members, sometimes their extended family, and sometimes even the society. It is growing because it's growing the world over, because we are hedonistic people. We are pleasure-seeking animals. And that is the reason artificial pleasures always have attracted us. Little did the man know that these artificial pleasures that one can get can lead you to complete destruction. Does it lead to all people to complete destruction? No. Just like for people who consume sugar, not all become diabetic. Similarly, people who consume the addictive substances, unless they have a genetic vulnerability, they would not turn into a pathological drinking pattern. But when that pathological drinking pattern develops, then it can cause menace. If the per capita consumption of alcohol is considered, then Goa happens to be one of the forerunners. It's a dubious distinction, but about 26 to 28% of Goans consume alcohol. It is very difficult to get data on Goa because Goa is a tourist place and people come here from all over the world and consume alcohol. So we don't get figures on how many of them are Goans and how many are tourists. But still, the amount of consumption of alcohol in Goa is extremely high. So my general estimate is, if the population of Goa by 2022 census is about 15 to 16 lakhs, and many Goan males migrate for work, so the number of women is slightly higher. That was what I was told. So about 8 to 9 lakhs are women, and of those, about 26 to 28% are consuming. So let's say 1/3 are consuming. So about 2 to 3 lakhs if they are consuming. And if we have 3 lakhs, so we are talking about 60 to 80,000 women in Goa who could have alcohol use disorder. Now, if men consume, usually they consume for recreation. But in women, there is a different pattern that we see. Because of the biological differences in the brain and in the body, for the same amount of consumption of alcohol and even lesser frequency of drinking alcohol, the women seem to suffer more. So Mother Nature is unjust when it comes to alcoholism. The initiation, the progression and the maintenance of this disease is much faster in women than in men. Now this is mentioned in our big book, which was written sometime in 1938. We call it, in science now we call it telescoping. Now why does this telescoping happen? The telescoping happens because the addictive centers in the brain, the pleasure centers in the brain, and the female sexual hormones, all of them integrate in the brain in the same areas. And that is the reason why in women, as the estrus or the menstrual cycle goes up and down, the consumption of drugs or any addictive substances, including alcohol, plays up differently than men. The pleasure chemicals in the brain, called serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, all these chemicals, the endogenous opioids, they are connected with the estrogen and the progesterones in the body. And that is rotating, that is like a wave, it is going up and down. And that is the reason why the brain chemistry completely messes up when it comes to addictive substances and the women gender. Add to it the social stigma. The social stigma associated with uncontrolled alcohol consumption and the disinhibition that happens, and the choices that an alcoholic keeps making, that leads the family to either suppress or disown the problem in their house. And that is the reason why women alcoholics find it very difficult to reach treatment facilities. Most of the men who have alcoholism have a spouse or a sister or a mother to take care. They reach out to help. But with women, the spouses, the parents behave very differently. What happens is the treatment offered is many a times interpersonal violence. That further suppresses the problems that the women alcoholic has. So in general, we believe that men drink to have pleasure, but women drink to decrease their stress. And the stress are in plenty in a life of women alcoholics. And that is the reason why women alcoholics find it extremely difficult to prevent a relapse, because they keep relapsing because of the innumerable sources of stress that they have to face in their recovery program. Alcoholics Anonymous is a 12-step program. There are 4 tools in Alcoholics Anonymous. The meeting, the book that I spoke about, maybe it's there somewhere. They have a sponsor and a 12-step program the sponsor who helps the individual to carry through the program. And there is a 12-step call. When all these 4 tools are systematically utilized, then science believes that the strongest and the longest recoveries can happen through the 12-step program. Fortunately, the same program that works for men also works for women. The other advantage, I believe, for our cash crunch country as this program is absolutely free of charge. And it is available in the remotest areas. The treatment reachability index for mental health professionals in India is just 21%. But I am certainly sure that Alcoholics Anonymous is available to people who want to do something about their drinking in much more areas than psychiatrists and psychologists are available. We have no data on the kinds of recoveries, but science believes that the 12-step program works better than all the other treatment programs that are available. In Goa, because of the social circumstances, the social circumstances, I don't want to go into the details of it, but the problem of women alcoholism is on the rise, not only in Goa, but all over the country. And it is high time that we set our goals on helping our women who are suffering from alcoholism. For the last 70 years in India, Alcoholics Anonymous has done some phenomenal work. We have nearly 1 lakh of members who are sober today because of this wonderful fellowship. There are about 60,000 groups in all over the country. The literature of Alcoholics Anonymous is published all over the world in 51 different languages. And I'm extremely proud that 17 of them are Indian languages. So you can see that 1/3 of population literature is in Indian languages. I believe that Alcoholics Anonymous has a lot of potential and lot of zest to help people suffering from this disease. And with all our support, if we are able to work together, then I'm sure the most suffering person somewhere in the society, when asks for help, there would be hand of Alcoholics Anonymous available for that person to get well. So I urge the journalist community in Goa to help the cause of Alcoholics Anonymous the way Jack Alexander a long time back in 1940s helped the US-Canada Fellowship. That article we will try to give it to you. It's there. It's here. So you can go through it. That is the reach that the print media has. That is the trust that people have in the print media. So we would certainly be expecting your support in this cause. And thank you very much for finding time for my fellowship here.